So we are live here in a second, as soon as it decides to start. Maybe.
Mhm. All right, let them know
There we
we're
go.
ready to go.
Hi, Star Wars CCG players, fans, and folks with nothing better to do on a Sunday morning but hang out with us. Garrett Larson here, Dead Body, on the Slack and forums and everywhere else. I am joined today by Eddie Swabowski. I had to ask him how to pronounce that because if you guys watched our the last stream I did with Charles, I said I'm not going to butcher his last name.
No, you did it
Eddie
right. That's right.
is on GIMP at least as N Rabbit, was one of the top 8 finishers in this event. This is the, I'll just try to get that light off a little bit. This is the Retro Charity event. We're doing top 8 match. It's Johnny Chu, mryellow. Frankly, I don't think I need to say anything about Johnny that hasn't already been said. An amazing player, one of the few multi-time world champions. Also, all-around great guy. If you've not had a chance to meet him or his kids, awesome, awesome guy. He will be playing against David Garcia, Mandarin. Looks like Johnny's starting with light. So, Eddie, you did a lot of the, obviously you did better in this event than me and did a lot of the playtesting and stuff going on. What are you expecting to see today?
Right now, as I see them start hunt down and there's good in him, I did not expect there's good in him. Dark side hunt has been pretty much dominated by hunt down decks that get teched pretty heavily against Watch Your Step. Hunt down's a build, bring them before me with the free executor is also a build. So I expect things like that. And light side, of course, Watch Your Step. So this is very interesting to see there's good in him start.
Well, and it's
Um,
epic dual hunt down.
Right. I had expected that. I played Mandarin in the qualifying with this epic duel, and he beat me by blind dueling my Luke after I disarmed Vader. So that was a little tilting, but it was a good game. He played it well.
And blind duels sometimes. Like I played in the Premier de Tatooine event, and I played hunt down dueling
Hmm.
pod racing numbers and blind dueled more than once
Right.
because I was like, well, let's see. Other than the Vaders and Tarkins, everything else in the deck is like a 5 or 6. So
Yeah. Yeah. Usually that's the case. It's pretty safe to do it against Throne Room too, being having a lot of zeros lying around.
yeah,
That's what I was playing. But I drew a 5 and like I think a 1, and I needed a 2 to tie, or anything above that, and I win the game.
okay, and that stuff happens. So this is interesting. So he starts no escape, arrest order and secret plans, and you can't hide forever mode points. Uses mode points to go get Waikilmu or Milwaukee. So might we be seeing some sort of like tie ping retrieval
I
here as
don't know.
well?
I don't know. I from the game I played with them, I didn't. There was no tie retrieval that I remember. I
You
mean,
just
maybe
used it to pull a activation and
yeah. Just you either pull that or Kuat as safe. 1-0 systems.
yep. And I like the start from David dropping Emperor Palpatine at the Endor landing platform, so he's gonna drastically limit Johnny's activation on turn one. Johnny can't drain with Luke. And basically, Johnny's gonna move Luke out. There's an Ewok catapult, so John's probably running ASP droids and then using the catapult, putting the catapult back to stack a 7 and snap turn,
Hmm.
which is a solid, this is a deck type that existed and has existed. Like, this has been weird for me to watch some of this as I played all through these eras, but what we're seeing never really existed in a competitive play era. Like, the no episode 1 cards is not something that ever really got played. So a lot of people are still, trying to build decks, and we may not have seen the best decks in the format yet. Like I think Watch Your Step is really good, but if you tech against Watch Your Step, it's beatable.
Right. Right. It is. If a lot of people have different ways to do that, and a couple decks come out. I mentioned when I was streaming the Rebel Strike team, Quiet Mind and Colony both become decks that are pretty good in their own right. But you're right. This isn't really a format. It's kind of made up. The exclude episode one cards, exclude the maintenance cards. So it's kind of a made up format that people tend to like. I mean, I liked it. I enjoy playing it.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. Okay, so
Uh,
John's doing speeders. All right. So is he going to throw a second speeder at the Hoth docking bay, or is he going to use that one to move Luke over? Hmm. I feel like I'd move Luke over just to create the start with the force loss. You
I
force
think
David to have a Vader, or this starts getting expensive for him quick.
right. I think you have to do that because it also bumps your activation more than the same amount as dropping the speeder, and then now you do the 2 damage back.
Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't. You're no longer getting capped there, so you just say, "Fine, I'll do that." And
I don't
we'll
know if you noticed,
see.
you lost 2 Vader's obsessions.
Yeah, David had the hand to go after Luke, except for the fact that Luke would have been immediately captured. So it was what it was. He starts just by activating 3, so I think we're going to see a Twillick. Yep. What's he grabbing with Twillick, though? With the speeders build, like, I don't know what you're trying to get to stop.
Battle plan first strike is because the speeders build, uh, the one that I'm familiar with runs a lot of the drain two sites, and you just spread wide and force your opponent to do something, and then you get the damage, and then the counter beat kills you.
And he
Oh, bad
grabbed
feeling.
Bad Feeling, have I? Yeah, it's. See, in the speeders decks I've seen, don't necessarily go for the spread. The speeder there and good in him go for the beatdown. Like, I expect to
Yeah,
see an income engineer and some power, enough to defend the Echo Dakime, and then you're dropping speeders and battle formation and just trying to overwhelm with a whole bunch of power on ground.
right, right, and they'll run the ASP droids, so everything becomes free.
Yep.
The Yeah, the one I'm most recently was, and I've played a couple times with it, is one I think by COTVG. Andrew Bethel played in the 2021 Retro Premier Death Star 2 event, which does it. It's just basically speeders, 2O sites, and ASP droids. And I think it was built to counter Raltier operations, which it does really well.
Yeah, it's amazing against Ral Ops because you're just like, okay, well, my guys all drop free. Have fun.
Right, right. And I played a similar build in Premier to Endor last year because everyone was playing Router Operations. Mine was it was operatives and speeders, and it worked really well.
That sounds filthy, and I kind of
Yeah.
like you a little bit less right now. But that does sound like a very solid deck. So we see Janice come down. David's only got 3 cards in hand, and he didn't snap deploy Vader, so I don't think he had a Vader.
No, no way.
And he's only got 6 force left, so now even if he Janice's into Vader, he's not putting him down, which means he's going to lose 2 force
Right.
to Johnny's objective, and now Johnny's got a. Johnny's only got 5 cards in hand, so Palpatine and Janice are probably safe this turn. But I could absolutely see Johnny basically just activate and.
He's worried about it though.
Yeah. David's playing smart and says, I don't think I need to face this. And Janice, yeah, only adds 1 at a battleground, so he's not gonna. They can't even drain there. But I do think that was smart, like just in case if Johnny's got 4 speeders in hand right now, that could be bad. And yeah, you see in chat, someone said, I tried this deck and there's too much Monarch. Monarch's definitely a concern. Like, you've got Crush the Rebellion, which definitely gets played in a lot of hunt down decks, and then pulling Evader Monarch, but at the same time, like, you can try and just keep your hand size low, do a mix of Rebel Speeders and Snow Speeders and Sand Speeders, and probably avoid Monarch hitting you too hard.
Right.
And you just gotta, you gotta be careful and play around it, and that was that era. Like, there was
Yep.
always, you had to be cognizant of Monarch, and you want to play a Swarm deck, that's what you need to worry about. So
That's why I like the spread build because you can still plop guys down, and then if you eat a monarch, who cares? Then just drop again, and then kill the guys who came down on your speeders if they did.
Yep. All right, so Johnny's trying to deploy another docking bay. I'm not sure.
Death Star or Cloud City, I imagine.
Would it be, or would he be like Tatooine for sand
Oh, Johnny,
speeders?
I'm sorry, Johnny. Yeah,
Yeah, Johnny, like Hunt Down, I would definitely see. Yeah, either one of the Death Star or Tatooine, just or Death Star or Cloud City, just to avoid projection.
I bet
Johnny's
it's
got
Tat.
one.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tatooine for Beggar is my bet.
Yeah,
Uh,
Tatooine for beggars, stand speeder, etc.
right.
And there's the signal. What's he grabbing with the signal? Goonie Tay.
Unite.
So, all right, this is.
Hmm.
I mean, Goonie Tay's cute.
Yeah, it slows them down a little, right? Because the battle plan is going to be,
Yeah, it'll
ma-
slow him down a bit. I expect if David's got a Vader, what we'll see is Vader come down and everybody move to docking bay. We see another Rebel Snow Speeder at the Hoth docking bay to bump up that activation a little bit more for Johnny, and now he's going to draw a few.
yeah.
Kind of a slow start for both players, which I think right now benefits Johnny a little bit. We see another Vader's Obsession go.
Wow,
Came off the top for reserve deck.
that's three. I don't know how many he runs, but that is three from my count.
That's probably all three. Like, I can't imagine he's running more than three.
Right.
And since they're utterly worthless except being a six, that seems very reasonable because you can't outduel a captive. So,
But you can force lightning it, and that is one way to get out of this situation.
yep, that was. I used to, all the time in Bring It Before Me, I'd run Force Lightning and Young Fool.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're just like, all right, I'll Force Lightning him lost, and then I'll Young Fool him, so I'm done with Luke.
That's dirty. I like it.
So it was always kind of fun. I think David forgot that Janice doesn't add at that battle at that site.
Yeah, that's a mistake.
That's a mistake. Now let's see if he asks for a revert. If he does, I would expect John will give it to him.
Yeah, that one's a little curious. That always begs the question. Should you allow this type of a revert? My philosophy, and he doesn't even ask. So
Yep.
respect to Mandarin here.
Yeah, no, he
Yeah,
says, "Yep, I made the mistake," and I don't know that I would have asked, but like in a real in a live game,
right.
you're gonna announce the drain,
Yep.
and you're probably gonna announce it as one, and then John's gonna be like, "No, Janice only adds at a battleground." And like, oh, never mind. So, but there is Vader for the
Okay.
flip, puts him at the Death Star docking bay. A lot of
Coward.
you big coward, which is fine. Um, like the Death Star docking bay, you're probably running put all sections on alert. I don't
Yep.
think Johnny's got any rebels that are going to be coming after him. If anything, you're probably just going to see a Bausch or a TK 421 to just try and block the drains he can't go after, because at that point that site's tough to 12 power and about a billion in forfeit.
Right. He's got it.
Maybe you just let him have that drain.
Yeah, and then either try to build up the speeders I mean, he's got the trying to find beggar at some point. I think.
Yeah, I'd imagine the Tatooine docking bay says, I'm going to play beggar.
Right.
And I think you just put that down and go. Interesting, Mike Pistone in chat said he would not have allowed a revert.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Mike on that as well.
And I probably would, because I think it would be a unintentional, hey, I thought I was draining for one. And the moment it's like, wait, that's a drain of zero.
Right. Which in my line, I thought was a mistake.
The game state. But it's a player mistake. So I can see both ways, and
right.
Like you said, respect to David, he didn't even ask. He just, yep, I made a mistake.
Right.
And move on. That's one of the big parts of this game is just, everyone's going to make mistakes. It's how do you minimize them?
Right.
And how does your opponent take advantage of the mistakes you made?
Yes. And I think as you get, in these kind of competitive high level games, think that people are less likely to ask for a revert on a mistake like that because they're like, I screwed up, and uh, and that's what we just saw. He was like, oh shoot,
Yep.
my mistake, and just live with it.
Yeah. No. And Mike says, yeah, it's a mistake. It's not a misclick. He didn't understand his own card. I get all of that. I
Hmm.
look at everything in the lens of how would I play this in real life.
Right.
And in real life, it'd be hey, I'm gonna pay 3 to drain for 1. That's a drain of 0. Never mind. And I generally let the player take it back. So,
Hmm.
but I'm also a nice guy, despite what everybody else says, and
You might be nicer than all of us, then I guess.
very possible. That's not something I get accused of often, but maybe I am just too nice, and that is what it is. So Johnny goes for a docking bay, gives up a verify. I don't think he had another docking bay. I think he's looking to see if something's in there to find.
Right.
Um, I'm wondering what he's looking for. I feel like it might be income engineer, the income effect. Like that's the stuff he needs to find and set up.
Maneuvering flaps.
Yeah, maneuvering flaps, and then the one that deploys on a Hoth site that gives you guys makes mobility 2 and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, that's I think Incon Corporation.
Yeah, that's. I was like the income engineer might be in the deck. Incon Corp is the everything usability 2,
Hmm.
and then maneuvering flaps. Like he wants to get a bunch of effects out here. So let's see how that works because he's definitely tanking pretty hard on thought. So and Johnny just goes straight to draw. So he says, "Fine, I'm going to lose a couple here." Like,
That's fine. He just needs to get set up, take a
yeah.
couple drains, find all your stuff.
And if he stops his draw at 12 because of a fear of Monarch, like, yeah, so he stopped at 11. So he's going to have almost 20 force next turn to work with.
Hmm.
And there went Incom Corp from hand, so that says he does have another one, and that's Incom Corp is deploying a rebel base site. Your ability 1 permanent pilots, our ability 2, who add 1 to power. So suddenly now these snow speeders are power 3, ability 2. Like, that's where this starts to be a challenge. Um, let's
Uh,
see what we can do here. Eddie, talk for a second so I can see which audio it's kicking up on.
yeah, test, test, test. 1, 2, 3.
All right, we just shut your volume down a little bit. I'm going to try here and see if I can get anything. All right, so Johnny uses the signal and grabs Uncontrollable Fury. Yeah, I heard I was low on Friday, and I have everything maxed out here. I'm not sure why I'm low, other than this might be the universe's way of saying to me, Amazon, a good, a better microphone combo. So if somebody wants to figure out a real good headphone microphone to use for streaming, and shoot me an Amazon link on whatchamacallit, Slack, I will be forever grateful. Yeah, I mean this is serviceable, Jared, but like if it's not great, let's figure out a way to make it better. So we do see Mandarin playing Crush, and he's just drawing as well. I mean, right now he's kind of ahead. Like
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
doing damage, his opponent is not. So like play this out, but now the question is, does Johnny even go after Vader, or with Fury, do you now just go, all right, here's Fury, here's something else? Because if memory say, I gotta remember, it's been so long since I played Uncontrollable Fury, where he has to have a character of ability on table, right?
Right, ability I think
Yeah.
greater than
So he's
3.
got to have a high ability character on table, and the captives don't count for that. Yeah, I'm not messing with any setting other than I think I just dropped the mic volume for Eddie. Jared, I think it might well be my microphone or something on my end, so I'm not going to play with settings. I'm just going to trust that sounds like everybody can hear me, and we'll make it work. So there's a snow speeder to the Tatooine docking bay. So if nothing else, Johnny can start threatening some damage, but like it's not a lot, you know.
No, it's 1 to 4.
Yeah, he needs something else to go here, and bad feeling I might be slowing down. Like I don't know what other ability 4 guys he's going to be dropping. If maybe the maybe a Obi with saber in the deck, but like then you've got to at that point you got to put him in the snow speeder because otherwise David's just going to come over and duel him. So you don't necessarily want Obi out. Um,
Right, the Uncontrollable Fury is a curious card in this deck. Because you're trying to take advantage of Vader, but Luke gets captured by Vader. And then who else would you run that's high ability in this deck?
um, like I said, and especially with he's starting regular staging areas, not the combo. Like I could understand the combo, and then running like Obi with lightsaber because at that point 2 Rebel Snow Speeders hits him on a swing,
Right.
and
That's a good point, yeah.
but without that, like 2 Snow Speeders, you miss Vader on the swing, and that could be bad. So I'm still. I think they're both kind of staring at each other, waiting for someone to make a mistake, and I'm just not sure. Like the other ability 4, I mean, are you running like Han with gun, Leia with gun?
I guess maybe.
Combo obnoxiousness, but like that doesn't flip Huntdown back.
Nope.
Like you have to have assumed Huntdown was going to be one of the decks in play. So Johnny taking it a little bit slow. He drops maneuvering flaps. He drops Incon Corp.
If he is able to get a big enough beatdown though, which you can do for basically 2 force, right? You drop the ASP droid, every speeder comes for free, battle for 1. He could do enough damage to clear the site still, if he's able to find all the pieces, because now he's got income and maneuvering flaps.
I mean, it's going to be hard to overflow or even to cause enough damage to clear that site. Like you're looking at 12 power plus a battle destiny. Assume that's going to be decent, so let's call it a 4. So you're at 16 power.
Hmm.
You've got Palpatine who forfeits for 9, Janice for 5, and Vader for 7. So to clear that, you need what? 16, 25, 30. You need to get up above 30 power. So there's the Uncontrollable Fury bait. We see Corran Horn, and he drops to cancel Visage, which makes sense. And now expect we'll see Fury on Vader.
Well,
Just
that's
to,
that's that's only 6 speeders you need if you with the effects. So it's not overly difficult to get to 30 power.
yeah, but 6 speeders is still 6 single speeders in hand, risking a monarch. Like
Right, right, right.
because if you're talking about if you're running the other speeders, then you still do have to pay something with the ASP and their lower destiny.
Yeah.
So like it's very possible to do, but John doesn't have the hand right now for that.
No, no,
Like
he
I think
doesn't.
with Corrin at the Holo Theater, we're going to see the 2 Rebel Snow Speeders at Home 1 probably move to Endor just to get around Coward, and give John that drain of 2 and try and start balancing some of this damage. So I could even potentially see him move Corrin to the Executor docking bay just to try and bump activation.
Yeah, that could be it. Move one of the speeders to Endor, and then now you're saying, okay, now you have to come to me and do something to expose yourself potentially to the big beatdown.
Yeah, and we saw Johnny lose a rebel barrier already.
Hmm.
So he's definitely playing, hey, if you come at me, you have to risk you're not gonna get to beat down that one snow speeder. You're gonna have a guy stranded. And if he strands the guy, David can move to him, but he can't move Palpatine,
Right,
who
right,
does cover 13 of that power plus forfeit math that we were talking about.
right. And he can
Like,
just come down against Palpatine.
yeah, I mean, if he moves everyone with Palpatine, Palpatine is a sitting duck.
Right.
So elderly folks don't run away from speeders that fast. It is what it is. So yeah, Johnny's definitely trying to think through, and I don't think it's just think through this play. It's you're playing chess, not checkers here. It's think through your play, what you expect David to do, how you plan to be able to respond to that, and how you expect him to respond to that. So, but I do think you'll see at least one snowspeeder move to Endor. And I kind of like Johnny holding for a little while and then thinking and then throwing the uncontrollable fury on. I think it was last year's OCS championships. We saw a game end on a decision timeout. So
Oh,
having a decision you're going to play, because you're going to play that uncontrollable fury either way. You can sit and tank for 3 minutes, make that play,
right.
and then you have a few more minutes you have another minute of thinking time without a problem. So we do see both Rebel Snow Speeders move to Endor. Johnny might be saying, you know what, 14 is a whole lot when everything drops for nothing. And balances off, moves the other Snow Speeder to Tatooine. I don't love leaving Incom
Yeah, income is at
empty
risk now. Right.
because it's free for David to move there. And that might be, Johnny might have had 3 incoms and he might be trying to bait him into that. Hey, I'm going to move a guy there, I'm going to cancel incom. And Johnny's like, great, here's a snow speeder, here's incom, here's a game.
Right. Yeah, he comes down or he deploys Mara, gets barriered, and now you have to decide do I move all over to Hoth to protect Mara or what?
Yeah, like there's a lot of that might be a trap that Johnny's trying to set, and that might also have been what he's thinking of. All right, so we see the Monarch lost. Civil Disorder, Snowspeeder, Rebel Snowspeeder, out of commission. Snowspeeder, Sandspeeder, out of commission. All right, so he's costing him 2 Snowspeeders and 2 out of commission combos. So that's a pretty solid Monarch.
That was
Anytime you pay 4 to make your opponent lose 4 feels pretty good. Um, that also means now he can go to Hoth with minimal fear. Like, all you can drop on him at that Hoth docking bay is 1 Rebel Snowspeeder and 1 Sandspeeder.
yeah, and then they won't drop Battle Destiny because he'll lose income.
Yeah, and you don't have an incom to put back. You don't have a way to get incom back. You also don't have to fear barrier.
Right.
Like, you don't even necessarily have to worry about that. You just go, all right, I'll drop a guy and then I'll move him away. Like,
I mean
there's no fear on that end. So we
right.
see Palpatine search for Force Lightning and miss.
He could honestly even drop Mara at the Hoth, drop, like Shizor or something at one of the docking bays because then they no longer drop Battle Destiny and clear out,
Yeah,
the
like,
site.
I might even do that and just go, all right, here's Shizor to the docking bay.
Mm-hmm.
Draw higher than a 3, or draw a 3, because these guys only forfeit for 2.
Right.
Like, draw a 3, you wipe the site, you shut off, you turn on Coward so you can ignore the core and drain. Like, there's only 3 battlegrounds on table. And light side, to get any more value out of Corrin than just canceling the drain, they need to control 1, although they are going to get uncontrollable fury. So, like, Corrin sitting there doing nothing still behaves like a drain of 2 because of fury.
True.
So, and you can also talk about, moving Vader in front of the snow speeders if Johnny battles off Vader, like you probably have another one, and then you can get rid of Fury.
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
So David's got a lot he can do here, and I think he's tanking right now and figuring out how much do I want to spend. Do I pay 3 to drain for 2, or do I want to just deploy a bunch and go from there? So, because I would expect David's probably also a little light on some amount of characters, simply because with dueling you don't want to stack too many ones in there that you're going to accidentally draw.
Right.
So something like Shizor, who's good and is a real good card and real good in this format, might not make the cut in dueling, where you don't want to. You're not as worried about something like Leia.
Yeah.
So, because you go, all right, well, I'm going to duel off your guys. Leia can't do anything, and now what are you going to do? Come at me with, speeders and weenies? Like, good luck. So, David's still sitting in control. Like, he's definitely trying to. Both players are, I think, realizing that these next couple turns are going to be real key to figuring this out.
Another thing to consider too is the insert that's going to be played, I think, next turn. That's going to be some damage that maybe Mandarin just eats, or maybe he's saving his guys for when the insert goes.
And that might be it, is he's just saying, all right, well, when the insert goes, I will lose. That's when I'll go pound the battle.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, I think clearing one of those docking bays is probably worth it either way.
Yeah.
So, and there's code clearance, which slows down the retrieval, and first strike just to get that monarch back. I like that play a lot.
Yeah, that's a good play.
The first strike to drop anyone and blast our controls. Good lord, David just had a handful of red.
He had the hand. Let's see what else he's got.
At this point, what else he's got is at least one dude.
Shizor.
And it is Shizor. All right.
That's probably, okay.
I'm okay with that, but I don't love it. I guess this way you kill Corrin, you kill the Drina 2, and you kill the uncontrollable Fury.
Right.
But at the same time, now you've locked Shizor. Well, I guess he can move the Executor Docking Bay and start transiting.
I think that's fine, because uncontrollable Fury is a problem.
Yeah, that steady Drina 2 is not good.
Yeah.
I like how I spent this time going, I don't know if he's going to run Shizor, and then Shizor comes out. Like, the number of times I look stupid doing this.
Shizor's too good not to run.
Yeah. And stopping Fury is definitely,
Right, you stop a drain of 2 and Fury, so that's 4 damage.
Yeah. You stop a drain of 2, because if you did Shizor in front of one of the speeders, he still stops the drain of 2 because a coward.
Right.
So it's just this way, he stops the drain of 2 and Fury instead of just stopping the drain of 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so Shizor causes a couple overflow, which is nice. That Destiny 5 was big. We see a control tunnel vision, Leia Rebel Princess, and a snow speeder off the top. I expect you move Shizor over to the docking bay. There's no reason not to.
This turn, he's got to do it now. Otherwise, he's going to be stuck there.
That was a very good turn, Mike. No question. Mike Stone, who's playing his top 8 match tomorrow, actually, is bouncing in chat and doing a great job of giving some other insight. Like that turn was outstanding for David, and he was real smart in holding on to everything he held on to there. Move phase, David might be considering the move Vader in front of some of the snow speeders, just because, again, you battle him off, you get rid of Vader, you get rid of the... You're not taking a Visage Ping if you get flipped back for a turn. And that gets rid of Fury either way. So, and that might be what he's thinking of. So he's just drawing. So David says, I'm going to leave Shizor to protect the Holo Theater, in part because if he can get another one, why is he losing to Fury?
I think it's because it's whenever it does the
Oh,
check.
you had a character. Yep. So he's going to lose Fury this turn.
Yeah.
It's just not ever going. There's a TIE Scout from hand.
It's
So I
gotta be
wonder if
for.
he does have Sinar and just the occasional, ties to drop in. Johnny activates 15. So he's going to
That
drain. I didn't. Yeah, drawing up felt like it would be real premature, but activating everything feels a little painful because you can't really draw a whole
right.
lot
He's running
else.
out of stuff here.
Yeah, like you're going to face another Monarch if you draw much.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it might just be hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to throw in the Anger, Fear, Aggression. Like right now, no one's doing any damage without paying for it. So Anger, Fear, Aggression does mean David's got to have some answer. David running HoloNet transmission to cancel transmission terminated
That's
or
interesting.
take Visage. I'm going to pull that back up because take one
The lost
Imperial or
function.
Visage into hand from use file. Okay. That seems worse than unsalvageable.
Yeah, salvage was amazing, but I mean, being able to, I guess, grab Vader, if you can't find him,
Yeah.
uh, is relevant. But the two battle destinies kind of, not good.
Yeah. So Johnny activates maneuvering flaps, so now his stuff is all a whole lot bigger power wise. Drops the one of each of the speeders, I think just to get him out of hand as well. And I expect we'll see the Anger, Fear, Aggression and
Uh,
Civil Disorder. So yeah, he's gonna start trying to put him on a clock, like
there it is.
because he's got 6 cards with ability on table to David's 4, and neither one of those sites feels like a good spot to go battle.
No.
But like those both feel real bad. And Johnny goes even farther and says, I'm just going to stack everyone here, so you will eat 4 to my drain. And also the Civil Disorder, like if with it split 3 to 3, if I'm David and I go, all right, I'm going to drop a guy, I'm going to battle the speeders, even if I have to lose a couple force, if I can use that to kill Civil Disorder as well, like that would be a strong play. So let's see where this goes. So he activates, pops Anger, Fear, Aggression. There's really nothing he could do about that copy. It
No.
was going to hit. So Johnny's down to 11 cards in force and 4 in hand. So I mean, Johnny's down to 15 force. Well, David's still at 22 or 27. Like David's, I think, comfortably ahead here. He's going to have to start dealing with some pings. Like he's going to take 4 here, but I think you drain for 2. And
Yeah,
honestly, I think here's where you start spreading out. Like you can't go battle. You're going to eat the 4. But if you can drop a guy to the Tatooine docking bay to cover Civil Disorder's ping, and then maybe think about moving Vader
right.
there, like, and you just start spreading and going, all right, I'm going to have to pay to drain and drain as much as I can. If you've got Visage, you throw it back out because you don't lose to deploy it.
Yeah,
When
he
you're
wants
on
to
the
find
side side.
Visage here. I think he really wants to find because otherwise, why really keep Shizor there? I think you're running out of a chance to move Shizor.
Yeah, I think, especially since we saw Johnny lose a second Corrin already, I think not moving Shizor was a mistake.
Yeah.
Unless David was like, there were cards I needed to draw, but I don't think he really even drew. There's an ASP droid and a Gunite from hand to the drain. Um,
There it
there's
is. Okay.
Visage.
All right. Makes sense now.
Yeah, I still don't love leaving Shizor there. Like, I think I'd risk my opponent has a third Corrin to
That's
throw
possible.
in.
Yeah.
Like, I'd have taken that risk, I think, and said, all right, we'll see what happens. But with that, I think keeping Vader safely ensconced with Palpy and Janice might be the play. So This is, because at that point you're just like, fine, you can pay to drain for one, John.
Yeah, pay the drain for one. I'll deploy a character a turn,
Yeah,
and you'll eat 4 damage a turn. Of course, he is
yeah,
going to take the insert ping.
yeah. He'll take the insert ping here, and I expect we'll see some, probably see some circles going away from hand.
Right.
He hasn't really used Janice a lot that I've seen. There's the Mara we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll be honest, with Mara, I think I would have dropped her to cancel income.
Yeah, and then just move her over. Absolutely.
Like I'd have just taken the this way I cancel income, and suddenly that 31 power is now a little bit lower. You know, it's still
Yeah,
25, I think, but like you have the spy, take advantage of the spy to burn income because you can. And yep, now he's peeling 4, so we see Masterful Move from reserve. I think that might have been why he verified his reserve deck to see what was in there for the loss. So,
yeah.
Vader with lightsaber from hand.
I like the idea of canceling income too because it means you can't just move 2 speeders by themselves now. You got to move at least 4 probably.
Yeah, I think David's playing this almost a little too passively, and I hate every part of that move. Like I'm fine. I'm actually okay with moving Vader. I see zero value
Right.
in moving Janice.
Right.
You,
Right.
you
I don't
keep Janice
understand
with
that.
Palpatine for the drain of 2, and because frankly, Janice's 7 means nothing. Johnny's only got 2 cards in hand. He is not dropping a hit squad
No. Right. Right.
on you.
I don't understand moving Janice.
So neither do I. And as David's drawing cards, I almost think if you're Johnny at this point, you might be drawing up. Like you got him down to 14. There's no way to cause more damage.
Right. He's just gonna lose from hand.
Like you're only draining for 1. You move in front of him. Like unless that last card is another, even if it's another anger for aggression, I don't think I love. I don't think I love it. Like he's still just losing from hand.
Hmm.
But Johnny says, I'm not listening to any of you. We're trying, Talon. I don't know why I'm quieter. I've played around with it a little bit. It's just, I'm just naturally very quiet. I'm not loud. I'm not obnoxious. You know, I don't know what's going on. So Johnny, or Mandarin, searches for the Force Lightning that isn't there. With Johnny not drawing, I still dislike moving Janice. Like Janice's 2 power and 5 forfeit doesn't move the needle when there's
Right.
really nothing Johnny can do in terms of a major attack.
Right. With 2 cards in hand, like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, like what are you gonna drop 2 speeders on me? Okay, like that's like 8 power. Knock yourself out. So
Yeah, you just lost a drain of 2 for nothing.
yeah, you gave up that extra drain
Right.
for no reason. But all right, so maneuvering flaps are activated. That does gives them no land speed. They can still docking bay transit, so you can docking bay transit everybody over, which is cute. Yep, and there Mandarin loses a Cloud City docking bay from hand. Um, what's your 1 card in hand, John? Like, what's the? You saved a force. Well, oh no, he didn't save a card in
No.
reserve. He could only activate 10, so that might be why he couldn't draw up. I thought
What
he
do you call
was.
it? You could draw and then take the Visage Ping as the last damage.
Yeah, he could have.
So I think he's, I don't know,
I,
still trying to do some damage or something.
like I said, if he's got another anger, fear, aggression, if that 1 card in his hand is anger, fear, aggression,
Right.
I don't hate this. Like I think it's a lot of risk because if you move everybody in front of at the docking bay, you're 30 power to 15, but like David can still just start a battle for the first strike ping.
Yep.
So, no, this wasn't the meta before Episode 1 cards came out, Talon. That would have been Premier Death Star 2. So this includes all the non-Episode 1 cards that were in Tatooine, Coruscant, and Thebe Palace, which definitely existed. There a lot of the helper cards, like keeping the Empire out forever out of Tatooine, that helps QMC, was in there, along with Reflections 2 and Reflections 3. Like, you don't have shields, but there's a lot of cards that came out post Death Star 2 that did not have Episode 1 icons. So this is, and I think that was part, like, I know that was part of, for me, the decks I built weren't very good because I was mentally kind of thinking of that era and then going, all right, well, what are a couple cards I can tweak? And it turns out it's really a totally different meta, and I didn't do well.
It's more similar to Premier to Reflections 2 than Premier to Death Star 2.
Probably.
Some cards do change things quite a bit, like the Free Executor card. Some of the combo cards are helper effects, but it is in general similar to Premier Reflections 2.
And Johnny just draws some cards. I'm not sure what was going on there. Like, you're not going to... I mean, Dagobah Clouds died long ago because, yeah, Coward will just utterly and completely shut it down.
And everyone plays Coward.
Yeah. And even without Coward, like, if you were possibly running Decree, that shuts it down. And Dagobah Clouds didn't... Dagobah Clouds was very slow to set up. Like, in that era, you could run Dagobah Clouds because you had some time to set up. This is a much faster era. Like, Hunt Down absolutely murders Dagobah Clouds because you're just causing so much damage so quickly. So Johnny loses a few. Mandarin activates everything and pays 3 to drain for 1. And yeah, that should have been 2 again.
Right.
The Janus move is a mistake. Now, does he, with what he's got in hand, does he deploy 2 more guys just to shut off Disorder? Does he deploy 1
I think you
just
deploy,
to stay ahead of it and
right.
pay 3 to drain for another 1, put a guy down to stay ahead of Civil, and let Visage do its thing?
Yeah, I think move Janus back over
And
and
there's
keep
Tarkin
going. Well, okay.
and Search and Destroy. All right. So, as I say, like, I don't love putting Tarkin there. I would have put him with Vader,
Yeah.
but then you can't put out Search. So, all right, fine. We'll go with this. So I think that's going to be game. Like, John can't. There's no more damage John can do. Now, David should not pick up. There's absolutely no reason David should draw any cards here. You just... So there he transits Janus, and then I'm assuming he'll transit Tarkin.
Yeah.
Not that it particularly matters, but just because you want to... I mean, Johnny's got 3 cards in hand and 7 force. Like... And it'll be 5 force real quick because of Search and Visage. So yeah, this is...
I think you just draw. You're not going to do any more damage.
Yeah, if you're John, I think you just drop. Because anything you lose... And John, or David, draws a card. I don't know. I don't like...
And another card. That could be relevant. That could be very relevant for the next game.
Any differential... John can give him at this point. Honestly, if I'm John, I'm not sure I draw up. Because David's letting himself lose differential. Like, I think you just go, all right, I'll activate everything. I'll activate Flaps. I'll move in front of Vader and Tarkin. And see if you can draw more cards. Like... I don't love that, like, the way that sounds. Like, well, I'll just let my opponent continue to make mistakes, but, like,
No, I
Why
mean
not?
that's definitely that's definitely
Although if you move in
valid.
front of him, you do give him back the first strike. So maybe you don't move in front. You just drain for three, and
I would, maybe you have like a Leia or something, plop Leia down so that uncontrollable fury turns on or something.
yeah,
But yeah,
and
try to see if he makes more mistakes and draws more cards because that's definitely valid.
yeah. Honestly, if you've got a Leia, you don't drain. You snap drop Leia down because it also shuts off search and destroy.
Right, right.
But he did drain, so he does not have a Leia. We lose the focused attack from hand, and yeah, I think John's just fine. I'll let you see if you draw anything else. Johnny throwing down a Baragwin, which does shut off search and destroy, which is good, although he's not going to be able to do anything with it because of Coward.
Yeah.
Like, you can do the swap, but you can't retrieve. So that's. We'll see where the decision goes, because I don't think you move in front. I don't think you give him back any first strike pings.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, you don't. You get the lose one to Visage. Like, if you're David here, you just activate, you drain, and don't draw anything. Like,
Right, right, right. Oh,
oh, all right. So there's a 3
oh,
and a
that's
3. So he canceled the drain.
that.
That's that could have been way way worse, and I think that was John's. That was John's one out. Was okay. I'll lose one to this drain instead of two, but golly, that would have been fun if that would have hit hard.
Right, two sevens or something.
Like that would have been up 2 sevens. All right, eat 8, and suddenly this is real close.
Right.
So and John loses the it's a trap to the drain of 1. Now David, do not draw. Like, if anything, drop a guy just to turn off civil, or well, you don't can't turn it off because the Baragwin came down again. So drop a guy if you've got one, just to,
Just eat it from your hand, honestly.
or eat it from hand is fine. Like, if you don't have a guy, you eat the 2 from your hand, you cause the visage damage, you take the drain of 1 from hand, and then next turn you win.
Right, right,
Do not draw.
right.
Differential is a thing.
Because he has nothing in hand. There's nothing he can do. You know exactly what he's gonna do.
Yeah, like don't do anything. And all right, so yeah, there's Dengar with Carbine. Fine. Basically, you're losing 1 card from hand instead of 2, just to cover Civic Disorder. Totally okay with that.
It's fine.
And there's the recirculate. He did not draw. Thank you. And John loses 1, so John will pay 3 to drain for 1, and that's it. Like, David's gonna win this by 12, and John's gonna have 36 cards in. Honestly, John might just draw up here.
Yeah,
Just
probably
have
better to
33
just
and lost. Like, I think you
draw.
just draw up and
Right.
33 to 18, because 36 to 19, there's no yep, John's just going to draw. Mandarin, David's got no used interrupts to play. He would have played them already. All right, so John loses by 12. Johnny with 33 and lost. And Mandarin David with 18. And they were playing the second game here, I think, right away.
Yep. 5 minute break.
Take a 5 minute break. So I'm going to update the tab just so we can see what's going on. While I'm doing that, why don't you kind of give us your feelings with how you thought this went, etc.
Yeah, I definitely was not expecting this build from Johnny. It's an interesting one. I think it can definitely surprise people with big beatdown, and then you force some sort of interaction with civil disorder and the inserts. But against a hunt down deck, I think it's probably one of the worst matchups it can have, just because hunt down is just fine sitting at one battleground with a Doom stack at the Death Star at pinging away with Visage.
And I think
Uh,
you're right. I think without, with Visage being, or not Visage, but Huntdown being the most popular
mhm.
deck out there, that felt like a risky play.
Right.
That being said, I think that Monarch probably very clearly won the game for David. That Monarch that cost him two speeders and the
Two out of commissions.
commissions, because the commissions would have killed that Visage redeploy,
Right.
and more of those speeders. Like, he could have dropped four speeders on guys and started to force damage through.
Right. Yeah. Four speeders against that lone Emperor, for example, would have forced him to probably just lose Emperor at
And
least.
even, I mean, four speeders when you had incom and stuff going. So now your four speeders are what, 3, 6.
I
There,
think they're
three of them were
five power
threes, so
each.
they would have been 4, 8, 12, 15, 15 plus Battle Destiny.
Right.
Like, you kill either a Vader or you kill a Janus and just start grinding away at that, I think would have been solid.
Yep.
Um, it was it was an interesting deck.
Yeah.
So
Interesting choice. I don't know if he knew what Mandarin was playing. I would have put Mandarin on this deck because I played him in the qualifying round. I wouldn't have picked There's Gundam Speeders against it. Yeah, interesting choice.
and that could have been a function of there's Gundam Speeders as a deck John's real comfortable with,
Right. True.
and like you said, this is a really bad matchup,
Hmm.
and John got it to 12.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty good.
frankly, if that counter assault had hit a little bit harder,
Right. Right.
he's getting it into single digits. And once you start getting it into single digits, all of a sudden you start talking about, like, could he have deployed that Tarkin or that Dengar, or was he going to be so low on force that that wasn't even going to come out?
Right. It was definitely possible for him to set it up to a 12 or a 10 or 12 or a 14 even with two sevens or something.
Yeah, like
Uh,
there was. Honestly, drawing those two threes was about as bad as he could have possibly drawn.
right.
Like,
Right.
almost anything else is better than that. And looks like John's got the second game up. I assume we'll see it
Yeah.
get accepted. Looks like there's a lot of stuff going on right now on GAMP. We see all the Jedi game going on. We see an OCS game going on. The OCS June OCS has got about a week left. If you play open and haven't gotten all your games in, this would be a good there's a lot of OCS games still to go. It's a great way to get some of those fancy alt art foils and foil V slips that I know, Eddie, you're not an open player,
No.
so you don't care about them. But I like shiny things. I like pretty cards, and I enjoy the open format. Like, I like seeing new cards. I like doing new things all the time. So, but they're a solid. I love seeing all the retro games going on here. We got a Premier to Dust 2 game going on, Premier to Endor, which I think is the retro. Is that next month?
It's June 30th, I think it kicks off.
Okay, so yeah, the
So next week.
Premier to Endor. Like, I love seeing all the retro formats and the retro leagues and all the players who maybe aren't looking for open, don't want to try and stay on top of that meta and that shift, being able to just come in and play, hey, I'm going to play retro and see how that meta evolves and changes from what was popular when the meta existed. There's Jared jumping in, like, yep, event 3 of 5 for the retro league is Premier to Endor.
Yeah, and a lot of people say, oh, those formats are solved and the meta is fixed, and I think that's completely not true. There is a bit of a rock paper scissors, like people play these decks, and then people find the counters to those decks, and then it shifts from year to year. I've found.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It's kind of the rock paper scissors. Like part of it is when we were all playing back then, and like I don't know if you were playing in that era. I've talked about it before. Like I started playing. I played my first tournament when Dagobah was released
Mm,
many years ago. There's the game getting started, and like the game, the speed at which the meta changed back then was much slower.
right.
You didn't have GEMP, you didn't have deck lists constantly being posted like you had deck tech. And people wouldn't post their decks until significantly later in a lot of regards. So we see Johnny with Agents of the Black Sun. Now that is a deck Johnny is extremely good with.
I expected these decks, I think, from them if I was putting them on anything.
Okay,
This will be
and
interesting.
Quiet Mining Colony. This is going to be different for me watching it because it's not the version that's running around open with Ancient Watering Hole V and a whole bunch of random scrubby aliens. Like, I expect this will be closer to the versions that were running kind of in this era that's not an era that runs like Path with EPPs and moving
Right.
around damage.
Yep.
So this will be an interesting match. We see the crush start from Johnny, which also means he probably is running the Cloud City docking bay to give himself another way into Cloud City. Like I expect we'll see Shizor move there
That could be,
quickly.
yeah.
And Johnny grabs Milwaukee with Mo points, and we see David using all wings combo to grab the Outrider. And Johnny grabs Evader Monarch and just says, "Yep, I'm gonna tell you I have it right now. Like you murdered me with it last game. It's coming out." So, and I see Jane App in chat says the premiere through Endor also includes Enhanced Cloud City and Enhanced Jabba's Palace, which means you're going to see No Escape and some other cards out there.
That's an interesting card.
That's so I
That makes
talked.
sense. Oh, go ahead.
I don't hate that in Agents because it gives you the Coruscant Battleground docking bay, so you
Right.
can move Caesar there on turn one
Mm-hmm.
and get that flip. But I know I talked about in the past, like No Escape and Unita are so damaging
Mm-hmm.
to those cards that it's really dangerous. I mean, we saw during your match where that the spaceport docking bay on Tatooine, you could drop like all your guys for
Right.
nothing.
Yep,
Like,
exactly.
so
Exactly.
now, granted, you got to count on your opponent's got to have it, but like Unita and No Escape were pretty commonly just a yep, I'm gonna throw this in the deck because if nothing else, I can drop it to get a card back. Like it's a
Right.
targeted specific retrieval, and we see Emperor Palpatine going to Leia's hut. I expect Johnny moves Caesar over, although maybe not. Like
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you gotta you want the plus activation for mode points. The odds that yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say the odds that David with 6 force, when all your pilots deploy +1 to that docking bay, can come down and actually do anything is super slim.
Right. Right. He'd
Like
have to have like EPP, OB, and well, EPP, OB is probably the best
EPPOB
one,
is the
honestly.
only way,
Right.
and then you have to hit him, which yeah, you're probably gonna, but it's not a guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Jared says in chat, and he said it a little minute ago, but I was doing other talking first. All wings combo definitely improves QMC, like being able to just go get that ship and that combo with squadron assignments to hold Bespin because you don't have you don't have the Belden's IV to go get your guys. I don't love dropping that site first unless you're going to put somebody at it. That just says to Johnny, "Hey, move Emperor here,"
Right.
and
Because that's the location you want to be at as dark side.
yeah, and that's the location Lightside doesn't want Darkside at. Like you want him at every other location before that one. So like either David just didn't have the sight. All right, so he drops Leia, and I'm assuming that means he's going to move Leia over.
Yeah.
That's fine. I I don't know. I still don't love that being there. Although Leia's real good against agents because
Yeah,
you
you
really
gotta
only have a couple cards to shut her off.
you gotta find your droids.
Yeah, you've got to find your Forlom and your IG with gun because there's basically no one else who shuts it off.
Guri.
Yeah, Curry. So
Okay, so yeah, not a terrible start, I guess, for Mandarin. Pretty good.
yeah, I mean I don't love putting that site out, but with this as the play, it's passable and it looks like he's probably potentially saving that one to cancel the Palpatine drain.
Yeah.
Um, that's fine. Like you're still going to get drained for one and lose two. So, and it's really just a what does John have to go after him here? So, and this is the deck and the match where you're really going to see John shine in terms of knowing what's in his deck, knowing how to do things, what to manipulate. Like this is this is where a top player. This is a high skill deck. It's a high skill floor deck. Like if you play it badly, Agents is not a good deck.
Right.
If you play it well, Agents is so good
Mm-hmm.
because you can just constantly know. All right, this is what I want to spend. This is what I want to drain to, etc.
Right.
So
Yeah, very hard deck to play, but very good if you can, because you're basically end up tracking all your piles, or you know what's in every pile in the order in two of the piles
yeah,
as you're playing.
I mean, you start to lose your reserve deck tracking kind of quickly because you're
Right.
stacking back. You're
Mm-hmm.
constantly searching for Force Lightning, but knowing what all's in your Force pile, knowing, hey, this is the card I want, here's how I draw into it,
Right.
is huge.
Right.
So, and we see the pings, and yeah, David cancels the drain at Cloud City, and then drains for one at Coruscant, and pings two. We see Power Pivot and Battle Plan off the top. That Battle Plan's actually rough. I think that's definitely a card David wanted to have.
Yeah, that definitely slows down agents a little.
Yeah, and we see Chris saying the Dark Surgeon deck title was accurate. Oh, it absolutely was. Agents is the purest, super high floor, extremely high ceiling deck you'll see in Star Wars CCG. Like when it's played well, it is so good. But if it's played poorly, it's real clunky because your character pool is slim and you're not getting a lot of stuff done. And we see the Vigo from to Coruscant for free. Okay, so he could have deployed to the same site as Shizor for free as well.
Right.
Um,
Maybe activation.
yeah, maybe John just says, hey, I want to be able to activate a bunch next turn, and I don't think you have 8 force plus a. Let's see.
Yeah, he could be thinking, yeah, a force because the force choke from agents is very, very relevant, and so he might be looking to get a big beatdown coming up on Leia if
Yeah,
he's got some stuff.
yeah, and it looks like so. David did not use the north corridor attacks to cancel that drain. He just used Leia. So that was why he retrieved the heading and then lost it right away to the drain. And that makes sense. So Johnny peeks at a few and draws a few, and I'm assuming, yeah, he's peeking, drawing to a certain guy. Yeah, I don't think you can go after that Vigo. I think if you had the ability to go after him on Coruscant, it needed to be on turn one with Obi with lightsaber, and otherwise you can't do anything. And 9 force is not a lot. Like, all right, you get a drain of 1. John certainly got stuff he's willing to pitch to that drain of 1.
Well, he knows his whole force pile in order. He's got 12 cards in hand.
Yeah, and there goes security precautions, which is just activation he doesn't need. And just drop a good destiny, or drop a pullable destiny. Yeah, I would expect John has barriers or projectives, ways to
Hmm.
cancel the battle, and be able to then battle on his terms, which is much worse. Like, I think David's got to flip this turn. If David can't flip soon, this could get out of hand. So we see use Quiet Mining Colony to grab another site. Um,
I think you'd probably try to flip, try to find a path of least resistance,
yeah, because you only have 8 force.
right?
Like, how are you? What are you deploying for 8 to flip? Like a cheap guy plus dash on the outrider and hope. And like Johnny's gonna have 23 force to work with. So there's the Obi with saber, and there's the barrier,
Of course.
and that was the concern. Oh, there's the answer to barrier.
Nice, nice.
Nice, that works. So Bith Shuffle, Desperate Reach to cancel barrier. Johnny does not have a sense to do anything about it.
Some builds run sense, some don't because watch your step meta. It's not
Yeah.
as good.
So I think you got to hit here. Like if you
You
miss,
have to.
this is going to be real bad because that immunity less than 5 is tough. All right, there's a
He's
2, so he's in decent shape. Just don't draw 1.
Ooh, that sucks.
Sorry about that, David. Um,
It's brutal.
yeah, this is. I expect he's probably got a Jedi's Resilience. Like that would be the way I'd be playing that, but
Right.
you got
Try
to draw
again
that
next
5
turn.
for Battle Destiny, or maybe a smoke screen.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like that's not a terrible card in here. Does not smoke
Uh,
screen, draws the 2 for Battle Destiny, so Shizor's gonna live. Um, John draws a 3. As I say, do you even necessarily draw, or do you just let? But I don't think you want to let Obi live.
no, no.
And yeah, the Anakin's lightsaber is a little bit of a surprise, but like this is the deck you could run matching stuff in because you can combo stuff together. And there's the weapon lev to go get
Yeah,
Anakin's
put it
lightsaber.
on put on Leia next turn, and now you're in a
Yeah,
better
like
spot.
I'm QMC in this era ran a little more beef, and it was a little less wimpy aliens, and a little more like, all right, I can be a little bit slow setting up. I'll get my spread out with guys with lightsabers at 3 sites and threaten path. If you
Right.
come at me, I'm gonna wipe you out and probably just lose 1 guy in return, and then I'll celebrate him back and let's reset. Like, so I don't hate the Anakin's lightsaber. That being said, John's got 9 cards in hand and 22 force.
All right, let's see what
If
he's
I'm David, I'm
saved for.
terrified. Like,
Oh yeah.
there's, there is nothing. I am not happy with any of this right now. And we're going to see. I mean, I'm
Nope.
assuming we'll see the drain. So the Vengeance goes for. Oh, Vengeance to put a card down first. Yep, we're still in Activate. So,
He's got no force saved either. This could be very bad.
yeah, like I think.
You got Path. Path is probably your only out.
Yeah. And it's possible John's got a sense and that's what he's saving it for. Like he
Yeah.
was fine potentially losing Shizor because he could still get the whole beatdown next turn
Yeah.
and save the path for, because you don't necessarily, Shizor staring at Palpatine or staring at Obi, unless you've got Guri in hand, you got to worry that he's going to get hit on the rebeat.
Hmm.
So, like, you let the barrier, fine, you cancel the barrier, it lives. Makes it more likely the next barrier goes through because you're running more barriers than David is running Canceller.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that. He need to go after Leia. He needs Forlom, IG, or Guri, but he's definitely running Guri. Although he did just draw Forlom for Destiny, he's probably not running more than one. We
I
do see
might
Kiss
run
My
two.
Wookie. subscribed with Prime or subscribed, just straight subscribed at tier 1. 28 months of subscription. Um, Talked about it before. Subscribing to the channel, and especially like if you've already got Amazon Prime, you get your free Twitch subscription. That's a huge benefit to the PC. Like that's what keeps GIMP up and rolling. That's what allows the prizes at all the different events. And we see the ping for 2, Leia Rebel Princess, and Core and Horn going away. Drain of 1. We see the dodge. And that tells me he's probably just not going to drain with Palpatine. Like, there's no reason to let Leia get another card back.
Right.
You know? So, and if you're planning to kill her this turn, like, fine. You can do a second Leia, especially since he lost a second Leia already from hand. Like, you're not running 3 Leias. So, let's see what John's into play phase. There's no escape to get back that barrier. Don't hate that at all. Like,
Yeah, very good card to have as backup.
Yeah, it just flat tells you, like, I have it.
Okay.
All right.
I was expecting this from people I was talking to, but okay.
That I was not expecting, although I don't hate it. Like, he's got a 10 to 3.
No, but it makes sense in this deck, right? Because you're fine sitting at where you're at. You know,
Yeah.
you got a 10, you're flipped, you're pinging for 2, and now they have to face numbers. So why not?
Yeah. I will say, I think at this point, then I'd move the Vigo over with Shizor.
Right.
Just to, you know, you've already got the barrier, but now, like, there's no reason to do anything. And broken okay, so.
He's got all the stuff.
Yeah, this is, David's not happy right now. I don't think anything has been formally planned after Worlds yet. I know there's some of the larger locals. I know the Columbus crew, where they did Ohio Mega Worlds last year in November, and they're doing that again. I believe November 2nd and 3rd, something like that. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. And then I believe a week later, the Denver crew is doing Tatooine Regionals and Colorado States over that weekend. And I know myself and a couple of Minnesota players are talking about going to one or the other and just deciding what to go on. Twin Suns, I don't know what that is, Jared. And you spelled it with a Z, and I now respect you a little bit less.
Ouch.
So there's the insert pop on David, so now he's got to lose 7 force. That's, oh, your name for the Twin Suns. Okay. Fair enough. That 7 is hard. There's a sight, push on us, a 3rd Leia Rebel Princess, all wings combo.
That's got to be the last layup for sure.
Yoxkit and Landing Claw, and Gemp does its fun. Hey, I'm gonna add a second set of piles everywhere. Yeah, I think that's about GG. Like, I don't think you can get. At this point, your goal is to get Johnny below 12, but just how? What are you going after him right now with this that can actually do that? So, would be awesome to make, one of those events. Like, I don't know where you're located. I will say the Columbus event was a whole lot of fun last year when I went, and they great locations. Fox in the Snow Bakery makes some absolutely outstanding things. If you weren't at Worlds when Carl brought a bunch of treats from them, you missed out. They were spectacular, and as a fat guy, you can trust my taste in food. I know good food. I eat good food. That was good food. Like I said, myself and a couple Minnesota players are trying to decide which weekend to do. Like, they're about an equivalent drive from us. I went to Columbus last year and had a blast. Do I want to go to Columbus again, or do I go somewhere else? So we see the Outrider come down with Dash against Zuckuss.
Yep.
And there's the barrier, which makes sense. Does he have a way to flip? this turn, or was he gonna put a second pilot on the barrier on the outrider to get around the? All right, coming out of Tennessee, so that's a beautiful area. Yeah, drive to Columbus isn't bad. So there's Malos on the outrider. So he says, "All right, you want to battle me? Let's go." And it is Johnny's going to have to do something about that. But
he could just broken, right? Did he use broken yet?
Well, it doesn't matter because the outrider's barriered.
Oh, right.
It's more for next turn. Like you're going to have Zuckus, who's power 0 against 8 plus a battle destiny.
He could set for stun. He knows the top 4 on his deck. He could set for stun and draw phase.
How brutal would that be? Just set for stun, dash back, and
right.
Oh, that would. At that point, I think David just flips his computer over and he's like, "Fine, I lost. Be that way." Like, I don't know what. Like that'd just be insult to injury, but I'd love it. Like that's.
Well, that's what this deck does. It's nasty. Such a good deck.
Yeah, it's a great deck, and when it's played well, it's just impossible. And honestly, if you don't have the set for stun already, like you can peek during battle phase. You can look at it before you start that battle.
Right.
And decide, like, all right, how do I want to do this? How can I, what can I do to put that in play? So we see he initiates a drain at the guest quarters again. So he gives the Leia back the retrieval. I don't know. I guess if you're gonna do that this turn, why didn't you do it last turn?
Yeah, I don't know.
So, because I'm sure Mandarin did exactly what he would have done, which is retrieve the card and then immediately lose it. So, he retrieved the landing claw and then lost it. Now he's going to get pinged 2 for vengeance.
Maybe he just wants to burn that because you can do that on your own drain, right? To stack a destiny.
You can. So, and that might be like he was trying to avoid some sort of destiny stack.
Right. Drop the 6, stack the 6.
We're in the same position we were at the start of last turn, which is Johnny's got a handful of cards and a whole pile of force to work with. Where does he want to go hit him? Like, he can go anywhere. It's just, what do you want to do? Because I do think you've got to do something in space.
Right.
Like, I would not be comfortable just sitting on that set for stun and waiting till battle phase. Like, yeah, maybe you do that, but that feels dangerous still.
It's risky. I mean, because he's got squadron assignments. I mean, he only has 3 cards in hand, but
yeah, but he's also in a position where any single character dropped at Cloud City flips him,
right,
and then he can keep him. So if he's got anyone else in hand, he can flip and keeping and start going. And Johnny says, well, I'm going to use Broken Con and remove your force pile. And that's fine, especially if we're going to see like a Draw Their Fire.
Yeah.
Or First Strike, excuse me. Draw Their Fire was just lost. Like, but where are you going to go with it is kind of the question.
Okay, here we go.
There's Bosk and the Tooth. So now you're looking at 4 power and 2 destiny versus 8 plus 1. So now we're starting to get stuff a little more interesting, and especially like a Zuckus, or not a Zuckus, a Forlon with gun. If he drew into his other one, like, no, Guri as a pilot. I like that because you can just forfeit Guri,
right,
to cover the attrition and keep all that.
Nasty. That's huge. That's huge.
If it wasn't already, I believe this is a GG. Like, I'll respect David for trying to play it out, but this is, it's all over but the mop-up, I think. I can't fathom him being able to come back from this. So, doing the peak at the top 4 cards reserve, just to, I think, make sure maybe But he's drawing 2 Destiny and the attrition is +1, so if he cracks a 6 total, he kills both pilots off the Outrider.
Right.
Um, that's gonna be ugly. So that huge activation was just that was the game. Like Johnny massively out activating and being able to cause damage with that is it's over. So there's a 2 for Battle Destiny, another Guri, and a 4, so that's a 6. Total attrition is 7, which means he's going to lose both pilots for sure.
Right.
And there's a 2 that says, all right, I lose Guri.
That's brutal.
Yeah, down 17. Like, he's losing both pilots and 8. So, because the Outrider forfeits for nothing. Ouch. And no Hujiks. Ouch. There's no nice way to say that. That was,
Lateral damage. Wow.
yeah, the lateral damage beat down into that was nasty, and you got 2 cards in hand. Johnny's got 30 cards down. There is no way you're causing 19 force loss before Johnny drains you out. Like at this point, because Johnny's draining for causing 2, 4, 5 damage. You know, you can save 2 and could be 6 damage because you got to save 2 to cancel the drain. Without that,
The only reason Delete not to play this deck is that it's a very hard deck to play.
yeah, it's a deck that if you don't play it right, you do very poorly with, and the players who know that just don't want to play it. Like if you don't play it perfectly,
It's like Brangus in the same sense. You know, if you don't know how to play it, you'll just get destroyed. It's
Yeah.
very tough.
yeah, it's a high skill deck. It's absolutely hard to get to that floor, but if you're good enough to get to that floor, the ceiling is extraordinarily high. It's a really good deck. And we see David pulling another site. I'm surprised how many sites he was running, because we saw him lose the carbonate chamber as well.
Yeah, which is one of the sites you want for the Drain 2, right?
Yeah, that's a drain 2 site. Like the other one that might be would be maybe the lower corridor,
Yep.
where you get a guy with the lightsaber and they're a bunch of power, and it's a drain of 3. But and giving away the force at this point is immaterial. Johnny's activating 16. Cloud City Sector. All right. Not a terrible. Like it's safe against the free executor decks. You can just drop to Bespin and move to the Cloud City.
Mm-hmm.
And have that ping, have that location. Again, where's David going with this? He's got 10 force to work with. I'm not sure he ever flips.
Yeah, I don't think so. And there's always the risk of the barrier too, right? You come down, you get barrier, you just get beat down again.
Yeah, like he lost the one. I mean, he ran through the one barrier, but assuming Johnny only has one barrier seems like a bad bet. Like I would expect John to have another barrier, and if he's got another barrier, you're facing a rebeat, and that's bad.
Right.
So as questionable as John's light side deck choice was, and I think we agree that might have been in a format that's been kind of run by Huntdown, that feels like it maybe wasn't the greatest deck.
Right.
John picked this one well and is playing it absolutely flawlessly. So, and I think David's just in the tank right now figuring out, does he have a line? Like, can he even fathom here's how I win?
Yeah, how do you win? Maybe you flip. You got to flip him back. That's probably one way to do it, or at
Yeah,
least
I
that's
think
part of it.
you have to flip him back. Without flipping him back, you absolutely. And David goes to draw. Like David, I will say I haven't seen a Luke lost off
True.
reserve
Yeah.
deck to damage either. We've seen a couple OBs go away. We've seen 3 Leias go away. Like he might just be suffering the I'm running 2 Lukes and they're both hiding from me, and how do I get around that? And it
Yeah.
could be one of those where every time he's tried to look for Lukes, they're activated, etc.
Right.
That's I joke about it. Like one of the games I lost in the premiered Tatooine event, I was pod racing Hunt Down. There were 8 1s total in the deck, 5 Vaders, 3 Tarkins. At one point, I had 5 of those 8 stacked on my pod racer. There's, every once in a while, things happen, and that could be what he's suffering from right now. Is just his Lukes are in hiding and have
Did
kept
you
being in the wrong spot.
right? Did you win the race or did you
I
lose?
did not. That was one of my losses. I lost to Chris Goglin, who was doing his own pod racing, and he
Hmm.
was doing boom racing
Okay. I
from
did
Rogar.
it.
So I lost the pod race. I got nothing through. I couldn't get an epic duel going. It was bad.
Oh, when all your Vaders and Tarkins are tied up
Yeah,
on your pod racer.
it did not work as well as I would have liked, and it was what it was.
I
So,
ran Brangus pod racing and Watch Your Step pod racing.
yeah, I did. I played the Hayes's pile that he posted somewhere.
Mm.
That was very solid and fun. And then
That's a
I was
good
just
deck.
like, I don't want to think that hard with Darkside. I'm just going to go numbers, pod racing, epic duel, hunt down, and stack, and just go for the duel.
Right.
And it was fun. like I think I squeaked into the top 8. Like I did okay, but
Nice.
it was just a fun, fun to be
Yeah.
like, what am I supposed to do here?
Right. The pod racing was interesting. I probably, it was fun a little bit. It kind of gets old because everything is pod racing.
Yeah, it's. I enjoyed one event with it.
Right. Right.
I don't ever need to play that format again.
Delete my decks from that format.
Yeah, so there's Boba Fett with rifle. Johnny just says, all right, well, if we're going to play this game, then I'm going to spread a little bit and make you lose more. Like, there's no reason to not to. David's got 12 cards total down and 4 in hand. And we see one Jabba's through with you was lost. I expect between hidden weapons and Jabba's through with you, Boba Fett's going to do nasty things if you come after him.
Right.
And it wouldn't shock me if he put someone else there with Boba. Like, just in case, there's no reason to leave Boba entirely alone. Like, you probably. David started do or do not wise advice combo, so he's not running senses. And Johnny says, Garrett, I disagree with you. I'm just going to leave Boba alone and go right to battle phase and peek at the top 5 cards.
Yeah, probably maybe has a Gick, barrier.
Oh, I'm sure. Between Barrier, Gick, Jabba's through with you, hidden
Oof.
weapons, like, there are so many answers Johnny could
Right.
have right now and likely has at least 1 or 2 of. And
He's
again,
he,
David's only got 12 cards down.
right. He's just saying, I think you have nothing left and spreads wide.
Yeah, like, I don't think you're doing anything to me. You have 12 cards down. That means at best 2 guys and 1 battle destiny, or something like Luke with lightsaber and hope you don't face a barrier. David leaves 3 in reserve, which does to me say I'm gonna come down with Luke.
Yeah. I mean, he could path over too, I guess.
I mean, if you path over, then the battle ends. You path over in front of Boba, and Leia just cancels Boba
A row,
immediately.
right? That's right. Yeah.
So the other thing he could be doing is saying, I know what my destiny are. I'm going to path Leia over and kill Palpatine.
Yeah.
Like, that would be actually a reasonable play. Like, shut down that visage or that vengeance damage a little bit. Like, you probably you lose Leia if you do so because she doesn't have any immunity.
Okay. Yeah, so this is probably his best move if he paths over and kills Palpatine.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And
Okay.
Luke Saber, and so we did not see a barrier.
Oh no. No.
Oh my god.
There it
I
is.
don't even know what to say. That's you can't even be mad.
No, that's crazy.
Like that was just absolutely like, oh, what? I have a zero sitting on top of your well.
That's brutal.
That would explain the no barrier. All right, well, David, I think you path Leia over anyways, just out of spite now. Like, kill the old man out of spite and call it a day.
That's
that
brutal.
was that was absolutely. There's nothing else you can say about that. That was brutal, and that was absolutely masterfully played by John. There's a reason Johnny is in the conversation, and very reasonably so, for best Star Wars CCG player ever. Like, he is that good, and that's the kind of stuff you see. So that's what separates Johnny from, us mere mortals. So David's, I'm sure, probably crying a little bit right now. Like, what did I do to deserve this? Why did I...
What's he hitting him for? 9 or something?
Next turn it'll be... Oh yeah, I didn't even notice Boss got moved down. So it'll be 2, 4, 5, 6... It'll be 8. Assuming he saves that one, although John can just Broken Con it back. So it'll be 8 or 9. And
right, 9.
At best he can hit him back for 2. Like...
I mean, it's over at this point.
This is...
That was his best play. That was his only out.
Anyway, I mean, he tried. Yep, there's the path. Pathing in front of Boba says... I forgot what Boba's text... Or I forgot what Leia's text does.
Right.
Because he's not... He now can't cancel Palpatine's Drain because he's used Leia twice. And he can't battle Boba because there's 0 ability there.
Right. I mean, that was his only out. He had the 3 cards he needed to do it, but he just had the 0 tracked.
he had a chance to kill Palpatine there. Like, that
Right.
would have been a fairly impressive kill. I'd have been like, all right, that was well done. Now he's going to, take 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's got 13 cards total. Like, there's no outs left.
That was wild.
That overload was beautiful. Like, I'm not even gonna be mad. Like, how are you gonna be mad? That was amazing and super impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And yep, there's the just peeling off the top. David's got no cards left in hand. He's down to like 5 cards total after this vengeance damage. And I mean, drain for 2, I guess, maybe? Yep. And Johnny just says, I don't need to do anything. I'll move Boba Fett away. And you only have 5 cards, but there's no reason to risk getting murdered.
Right.
So pay 3 to drain for 2. Johnny will lose them both from hand.
Or just cancel the drain.
I knew that was there, and I just forgot about it because it's like, all right, the game is so far over.
Right.
It doesn't matter. I'm beautiful. And David draws a couple, like, a lot of respect to David. He played he played the hunt down match very well.
Yep.
I think other than a couple minor things that would not have ended up making a difference, like he should have had 14 differential instead of 12. He's losing this one by 27. It doesn't matter.
No, that well played first game. This was just, brutal beatdown.
And honestly, I'm not sure he played poorly this game.
Right. It's just, this is a great deck in the hands of a good pilot.
There's nothing I saw this match that I'm looking at it and saying, I really dislike that play after you saw the eventual play. Like, I didn't love Leia alone, and I didn't love grabbing the guest court or the North Corridor right away, but it made sense the way he played it, and it was good. Like, I think he just ran into a buzzsaw and ran into a deck that's a really good matchup for him. Because QMC wants to get going a little bit slowly, and Agents just, with that opening hand Palpatine, Johnny just said, pedal to the metal, let's go.
I know, and that's what it does. Turn one flip with the spaceport docking bay is 4 damage on turn 2.
Yeah.
It's a huge amount of pressure, and you
Yeah.
have no force, because you're getting choked.
No, it was spectacularly well played by both players. Was a heck of a match. Thank you very much, Eddie, for joining me
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was
on
fun.
this. QMC is not bad. I think your QMC
Not in this format. It's good
in this format, keeping the Empire out forever is so good. And in a format that is a little light on grabbers and has some trouble dealing with recurrent stuff, when you can set up Celebration, Off the Edge, Path, guys with lightsabers around, and build your combos out of your force pile, QMC can be really, really good. QMC is not, there's a reason David played it here in the top 8. Like,
and I think he played it in the qualifying too.
Yeah, like it's a very solid deck, and it's a deck that it's again kind of a slightly higher floor because it's a deck that you have to make a ton of decisions with, because you have to make all your decisions. You get more chances to make a mistake, more decision points, but it's a good deck, and David just ran into a buzzsaw here. There was nothing he could do. I don't think he could have done anything better than what he did.
Like the way he wins this is flipping early, getting Luke down at Cloud City, and then with the path of least resistance makes it really hard for Johnny to remove him. But he too much pressure too fast.
And honestly, missing that swing on Shizor was huge.
Right, that too.
Like, I didn't see a second Shizor from John. Now I assume he had one, but like if that swing goes through, if he flips that 1 and the 2, so he draws 2 2s for the swing, he hits Shizor, and all of a sudden that damage gets cranked way down.
Plus, Johnny no longer has the ability to look at his piles. He can't track, you can track what you see, but you don't know what's in your force pile, so you don't know how much to draw, and you're just trying to find things and flip back blind.
All right, I know I have a 0 up there I can do stuff with. Like,
right.
I think that was a great play. It just, in this era, and low destiny is a thing. Like, missing with a lightsaber on an ability 3 guy does happen sometimes.
Right.
So it was superbly well played by both players. Congratulations, John, on making top 4. Thank you, Eddie, for joining me.
Thank you.
I think everybody, y'all go enjoy the rest of your weekend. May the force be with y'all.